your gaze. You can make me feel oh so much with your ways. It's so perfect the way you play me. It's magnetic the way you pull me. You flick the switch, you know me so well. You turn me on like nobody else. I'm a project for you to complete. You're so perfect, and now I need you to need me. Explosion. I don't wanna give up, but I'm dreaming high. Never gonna care, I'm living on the double side. If I'm gonna make it, I will never miss the chance, yeah, yeah. Come on, love, feeling for you. And I can't raise it for you. Now, if I had to call you up, I never would have too much time. Things were always pretty good when you were staying by my side. If I ever fall in love with you, ain't gonna leave my mind. You ain't gonna be the same, that's how I'm feeling now. Be what you did to me, or memories are stuck inside. I wanna say a lot of things, something that I love feeling for you. And I can't raise it for you.
I think it's about that time. Branding. And here we go.
Distance nerding.
Good evening, all of the people. I am your host of the Distance Nerding Podcast. My name is Young Phil. Does that feel weird to you guys? For me, like talking low in that way, just, you know, in a way that sounds NPR professional. I can't do it. I can't do an NPR professional voice for too long because I can't stay serious. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Young Phil. Distance Nerding Podcast. It's the build. It is that time of the week. We are building stuff and interviewing people because why the hell not? It's always fun when we do that. So, ladies and gentlemen, just throwing it out there, I am your boy Young Phil. And I have to introduce my co-host for the night, the female hostess with the mostest, the lady that keeps my connective glue together, because if not, then I'm just a whole bunch of boisterous loudness and it's not reined in. And it needs to be reined in sometimes. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, it's your girl, Phoenix. Hi, Phoenix.
Hello.
How are you doing tonight?
I'm pretty good. And how about yourself?
I'm okay. Obviously, I don't have the ring light on my face, and it's because of the way that I have the camera angled right now. So that being said, before I jump into all of this stuff and everything like that, what I need to do is, well, number one, I've got to do sponsors and plugs and all that. But before I do that, I'm really excited about the guest that we have on tonight. And I know you're excited about the guest that we have on tonight.
Yeah,
because this is a big
excited.
deal for me. I'm a baby cosplayer that's trying to get more into cosplay. You are a cosplay aficionado and always trying to get on that. And this person is a juggernaut in the cosplay world. I got put on to him by you and by Kyber Cave, and I started following and watching videos, and dude, the stuff he makes is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm hyping him up like crazy, but I'm gonna bring him on now. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know who he is, you will find out here in a moment. We are bringing on OdinMakes.
Hello.
I hit the button. So.
Oh, okay. That wasn't my audio. Good.
No, that's my audio.
All right. I had to, oh, you can hear me too. Perfect. I had the slightest of audio problems. So typical Odin stream. Do I have sound? Hi.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was a fantastic intro.
Oh, I'm happy that you enjoyed that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'm a weird personality and I tend to do that. So.
Oh, that's no, it's good. It's good. And I enjoyed, I usually pronounce it juggernaut, right? So you were saying jaggernaut, which made me think of Jaegernaut. So it's sort of like, is that the pilot of like the Gypsy Danger, or is that just like someone who drinks a lot of Jägermeister?
Right. My whole thing would just be like, if I'm going, Juggernaut, I'm thinking like, I'm the Juggernaut, bitch. Like that's
oh, there you go. All right. Yeah.
Immediately what I'm thinking when I do that, right? Or of course, like I cosplay as Deadpool very often, so it's like, oh my god, it's the Juggernaut.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That totally makes sense.
Right.
I mean, it all made sense anyway. I knew exactly what you meant. I was just enjoying the my mental associations, right?
He's just like, he goes, I'm a really big fan, X Force number 23, and when you knock out, he goes, okay, I'm gonna tear you apart now. Like, oh, we're doing this now, okay.
Okay.
All right. So before we I change cameras here, I've got to throw out our sponsors now. First sponsor out there, obviously, we throw them out very often. But first sponsor is, guys, have you ever just sat there on your podcast that everybody has, because we all have one, and you're interviewing somebody, but you can't figure out what to tell them or to ask them? We have a solution for you. It's called Pod Decks. Pod Decks are a unique interview question and episode starter prompt in the palm of your hands. It's in an app. It's amazing. So whether you're a new podcaster or an existing broadcaster looking to grow your audience and get more engagement, you're going to want to check out Pod Decks. Now, not only that, and this is something that I figured out over just playing with it, but not only is it something good for podcasters, but if you're just an everyday person that likes party games, Pod Decks is all about that. If you are, say you're a trainer at work and you want something that isn't a good icebreaker system, Pod Decks is good for that, right? So what you guys got to do, if you're interested in Pod Decks, of course, go to poddecks.com, put in the code NERDington at checkout for anything that you purchase, and you get 10% off. And that's NERDING 10. Pretty awesome stuff. We may even be using it tonight. Depends on how Phoenix is going to be conducting the interview here.
Oh boy.
Yeah, but I mean, Pod Decks is awesome if you guys haven't checked it out. So if the stream is powered by Poddex, then that means Young Phil is powered by DUBBY. Guys, DUBBY is amazing. If you are looking for an energy drink that doesn't give you jitters, crash, and just increases your concentration, reaction time, focus, it's good for gamers. It's actually built for gamers. But the whole thing is it's great stuff. It contains no maltodextrins. It has no sugars. It has no fillers. It has no artificial colors, no dyes, anything like that. It is great. I drink them every episode. I'm about to do my super plug here in a second because I always shake up my drink and whatnot, my DUBBY. Tonight I'm going to be doing the Galaxy Grenade. And Galaxy Grenade is watermelon, guava, and lime. And I think, a lot of people know G Fuel and some of the other energy drinks that are out there. I like this better than G Fuel. Just mainly because of the flavor. The flavor itself, it doesn't taste chalky, which is big. So I have my 2 scoops, my fizzy water. Make my drink here. Phoenix, you got any prompts or questions or anything we want to start with?
I was going to say, I wish that I had DUBBY. If you were going to ask me if I had DUBBY, no, I don't have DUBBY. I wish I had DUBBY.
I actually have a couple of people who already messaged me and said that they're getting ready to purchase some DUBBY. Yeah, guys, go to dubby.gg. Dubby.gg. Put in the code NERDington, and that'll get you 10% off of anything you purchase. They've got 3 wonderful flavors. Galaxy Grenade is the one I'm doing tonight, but they also have the Dragonade, which is dragon fruit and pink lemonade. And then the Dub Sludge, which is what I did on the game stream last night. And Dub Sludge is Granny Smith apple, and I think it's cherry. They say it's a secret sauce. I'm almost afraid of what the secret sauce is, but it tastes good, and that's all that matters.
It can go
it's
either
the
way.
Tears of noobs.
Yeah,
Tears of noobs,
I like that. I like it.
What it is.
Yeah.
They've collected all the tears of bad gamers and put it inside of a drink. And now I can collectively drink the tears of noobs. It's great.
The GG-ness of the gaming world.
And we've discussed this. Like GG is, it either means good game or get good. If you're toxic, it's get good.
Guess which one I am.
Phoenix is a toxic gamer.
I am. Yeah.
I'm gonna take my my sip here.
I didn't want to step on our sponsors, but Odin, it is so good to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. No, I'm excited to be here. Excellent sponsor plug. Good for you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And of course, he'll be also building while we talk, because that's kind of what the build is about. But of course, which is perfect because you are a builder yourself.
Absolutely. Now, I wasn't planning on building. Did I miss a memo?
No.
No.
He builds, we talk.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
I build Lego. You guys have conversations.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I can get some Legos. Give me a minute.
Yeah.
Do that. Oh, by all means, I'm not stopping you in any way.
No, I'd have to disconnect to leave the room, so I'm not going to do that. But I mean, I've got trains, and I recently I finally picked up the Bro Thor set.
Yes.
I had it on sale. Yeah. How could I not get a Fat Man Lego? Yeah.
So and
pretty the way they have this set up.
Oh, that is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Almost like an unboxing.
Oh yeah, I know. Well, that's a funny thing. I guess they were trying to do something that's more friendly towards the earth with the bags. I don't see that there. But
no, not in this kit. This is
No, not in this case. Yeah, they're coming out with paper bags. But this is just the adult packaging, the more presentation packaging instead of the dump it out of the box packaging.
Right.
So as for building, I'll talk a little bit, like, how did you really get started with the building and wanting to stream all that? Because that is a lot of work. And I noticed sometimes you even do jump cuts, like, I'll be back thing.
I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it's all part of the story, the narrative. And sometimes, I'll be right back works really well as a jumping ahead in time.
I'll be back.
I'll be back. I'll be back. Get to the stream.
Get to the stream now. I'm trying to steal my tortillas. Ah! I'm sorry. I just
Yeah, just enjoying yourself.
Yeah.
As far as how did I get started? Well, we're looking at it. Honestly, I think the youngest thing I can think of for building or creating anything was Lego. I remember getting there was the 3-digit universal building sets they had in the early 70s, like 573 and whatever those ones were. The ones that had the buildable people with the large yellow heads and the snake arms. Yeah, I had those sets. But as far as streaming and everything else, thanks to Star Wars and Godzilla movies, I've had a high interest in movies and monsters my whole life. And it started with, high school was horror films, and it just kind of progressed through what I could actually afford to make and do, and what local filmmakers in my area were doing, so I could jump on and do stuff with them. And that just kind of led into, I actually worked for a company that made high-tech equipment that did live internet streaming in the late 90s. So I was part of a group that was on screen doing live internet casting 5 days a week, 12 hours a day in 98, 99.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I've kind of been doing it for a little while. And then I finally got around to getting my own channel, thanks to working at Smosh and seeing that, oh yeah, this is still a viable thing. So.
Oh, nice.
That's kind of the short. I can stretch that way out, but there's a shortcut.
So you were there at the beginning when it was just really just starting to rev.
Oh yeah. I was there when the only interaction was ICQ, and the hardware that was specially built that we had for streaming live over the internet was designed to work with both ISDN and 56K dial-up.
Oh boy. Yeah.
For all you children out there, was internet before broadband.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely. ISDN and DSL was a brand new thing. I got to be part of the group that went down for the Star Wars Episode 1, wait-a-thon. There was a group of people that started waiting at the Chinese theater in Hollywood,
right,
8 weeks before the movie came out. At a time when it wasn't even confirmed it was going to be at the theater, they started lining up, and they did it as a charity drive in order for the city of Los Angeles to not shoo them away at night. It's like, okay, you're working with charity, we're going to turn a blind eye to this if you behave. They got a hold of the company I worked with. They sent me down as the tech to hook everything up. AT&T showed up and hooked up DSL, this brand new thing, to a payphone that was next to a souvenir stand on the sidewalk. Mm-hmm. And so we plug all this stuff in. First night, it's about 3 a.m, and everyone's there, crawls into their tent and goes to sleep. And I'm looking around, and I called the president. Yeah, everyone's asleep. Nobody's watching the gear. So I got to wait in line for 6 weeks just so I could babysit the gear at night while everyone was asleep. and so I was the overnight guy playing videos and answering calls and doing things, because one of the payphones, we encouraged radio DJs to call in. So and that would start ringing at about 4 a.m. when the East Coast starts calling in, because on the West Coast, right? Yeah, that was fun, answering calls like, okay, we want to stump you with Star Wars trivia. Oh yeah, sure, no problem.
1999, right?
Yeah, this is 99.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that. I actually I went to go see Episode 1 at I don't remember the name of the theater, but it was a theater in San Francisco that is no longer there anymore.
Right. Not sure now. I can think of a lot of the ones that are still there, but I can't think of the ones that aren't there right now.
Right. It was on Geary. I remember that.
Okay.
And also, you mentioned a little bit of Smosh. You want to kind of talk a little bit about that and your time with Smosh?
Sure. So real quick recap for anybody listening who isn't familiar with who Smosh is. Yes. They were a very early YouTube channel. They came on with the Pokemon rap and got to have a huge notoriety. They were the #1 channel briefly in the world, and then they were the #1 channel in the US for years. They had up to 25 people working at a time on their episodes, and their episodes were kind of sketch comedy, sort of Saturday Night Live, but geared towards 13-year-olds.
Right.
Yeah. Great demographic.
I was that.
Yeah, total rewatchability. So for about,
I always associate Smosh with, especially like the G4 era. Yeah,
that sounds about right.
Yeah, because they were like really big around that time.
I came in a little later when they started changing things up. They added more cast members. I was there about a year and a half before the new cast members came in, when it really became more like Saturday Night Live. But still, it's a very enjoyable experience. I was art director for like 4 years. I built a lot of the funky props and built different sets and things for them. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
Yep. And that definitely showed me that, if you guys are paying all this off of your YouTube channel, this is a viable business.
Which we now know is like 100% true.
Yeah.
Which is 100% true.
Yeah.
Effectively, I am working full time. YouTube is the only job that I do. It pays me enough that I can support my family, but by no means do I own jet skis and fancy houses or anything like that. I'm my debt level is manageable, but it's not, I'm not walking on water.
You're not PewDiePie, is what we're saying.
I'm not PewDiePie. No. No, I'm not. I'm not quite sure. He's not that bad.
I was gonna say his voice isn't that high. Like he's got a fairly high pitched voice, but I also think that's because he's not American.
Right. Oh, and I'm sure it's just part of his persona, and it could just be his voice. I know he's a super nice guy. He sent lots of stuff to Smosh. Like Smosh and PewDiePie would talk back and forth all the time.
Right. And I mean, I think Pew's got a lot of his start from rebroadcasts from Smosh, didn't he?
I think so. A lot of stuff with like Smosh Gaming, which I was never part of that part of the channel. I was just there for the full Smosh channel, and then they did like their Every Blank Ever and some of those other things. I was there for all the produced videos that actually had sets and skits, as opposed to them reacting to something in a room.
Right.
And so so you were just doing like just the props. You weren't helping like create the episodes, or?
Well, in a sense, that's helping create the episodes.
Well, yeah.
No, I wasn't part of the writers. I didn't make decisions on what the stories were. I didn't help. I would give solutions on set for when something wasn't working and they needed to improvise. Mm-hmm. I would toss out ideas, like everyone does. Yeah. But that's not really writing. So I would do the props and did a lot of the sets. There's another person that is on my weekly live stream. Her name is Felicia. She was doing the wardrobe, and so the two of us would work a lot on stuff because there's a lot of crossover with zombies, post-apocalypse, superheroes. There's a lot of crossover between props and wardrobe. So
definitely.
Yeah.
So on to your really awesome, and I am, by the way, a huge fan. In fact, I've gotten everybody. Yeah. So because you do Marvel, Star Wars, everything, like how do you decide week to week and every time you publish what kind of projects you're going to do?
It's a magical thing of pull it out of my a lot of it is I'm trying to produce a video every single week. So generally speaking, I'm trying to do a project that I can complete within that week, in addition to get the video edited and put out on time, which I actually have been a little late recently. Just life. But I've still been making it every single week, which is good. So that's part of it. So I've been building things that I could get done in a week. I mean, I've done larger projects as a series, but generally speaking, I've gotten a lot of negative comments on a part 1, part 2. It's like, oh man, I wanted to see the whole thing. So I try to keep it a contained episode. I also try to look at what's coming up. So when I do something, it can possibly hit when something new is coming up, and it's going to be a lot more in the public search terms. Because as far as finding new viewers who've never heard of me, they're not looking for me. They might be looking for how to make something that I'm making, but they're not looking for me. So I try to do lots of different Star Wars, Marvel, DC, comic books, video games, movies, anime, artwork, whatever, as a way of grabbing new viewers, because I'm trying to reach out into new things.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of suggestions come from my viewers because
Really?
there's way more fandoms out there than I know. Yeah.
Right.
So you do you get a lot of like, please build this one thing?
Oh yeah. I get a lot of that, and I get a lot of people who, because I ask, right, and I'm asking looking directly at the camera, so I'm sort of making eye contact with the viewer. I get a lot of viewers who seem to think that their request is what's going to happen next week, and then they get upset when it doesn't happen. It's like, dude, I can't make Ed 209 in 1 week, you know?
Yeah. I think that's a statement, though, of how interpersonal your shows feel. Where you feel like you're talking to us, right? So when you do your projects, how do you make decisions about how you're going to make it? Because I notice a lot of your videos, which I appreciate, are cost effective.
Mm-hmm.
Do you look at it and go like, okay, no, it has to be affordable? Or because I notice there's been a couple complicated words that are like, I'll never manage that.
I've let myself fall into that area, but there was another channel I actually worked on as a guest host for a while called DIY Prop Shop, and part of their makeup or part of their plan was to do a project that a novice viewer could do for less than $40 over a weekend. And so they kind of wanted things to fit in that category. I'm still sort of doing that. I kind of let that slide a little, but I still kind of have that in mind. Like, I really like working with foam because I think it's a very fast material. It is for me anyway to work with. I can get results fairly quickly, and it is as another maker put it, it's got a low cost threshold for entry. Warbler is a fantastic medium to work with. It is strong and lightweight and thin and expensive to buy. So yes. I'm a huge fan of foam.
Yeah.
Oh,
Warbler is, I've worked with Warbler a little bit, and I think I found your channel because I was researching Warbler. Have you ever done the stuff like the hand make Warbler? Have you ever tried that stuff?
Oh, we're actually just getting thermoplastic and mixing it with cellulose and making your own Warbler? No.
Yeah.
I've read about it and went, yeah, that's still too much effort. I'm going to go buy a roll of foam.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's interesting because I watched some of your most recent episodes where you did Athena's, which that was so cool.
Oh.
Yeah.
The Athena spear?
Yes, Athena spear. Yeah.
That one was a little more outside of the box for me, but once I knew the movie was coming up, and it's like, I got to do something, and that finally hit me. Oh, I want to do that. I was like seeing it in the theaters when the idea finally hit me.
Because I noticed that one was like, it was even interesting to watch because of the it was the wrong size, and right. I don't know if anyone, I don't know, not everyone has watched these episodes yet. But you want to explain a little bit about what happened with Athena's? Because that was an interesting one for me to watch. So many like balls being hit, where we don't normally get to see you do that.
Fair enough. So yes, once again, for those of you who aren't in the loop, Athena was Angelina Jolie's character in the most recent Marvel movie, The Eternals. Right. And one of her powers, as with most of the Eternals, is to manifest weapons out of thin air. And it was this very lacy gold type of growing vine look, right? So she would just kind of draw her hands and this thing would appear. So it was kind of a halberd or a pike. It wasn't quite a spear. It had a lot more going on in the head. So what I did was I used an acrylic tube for the body that had painted some gold on it to get the spiral, like a barber's pole. And then the head, I had a friend use his Glowforge to cut me out the design as best replicated from what I could see from the trailers. And that was where the weirdness happened, because I asked him, hey, what's the largest piece of plastic you could cut? And he tells me. So I make the artwork that's kind of maxed out to as much paper as I can print, type of an idea. Well, he puts it into the Glowforge, and Glowforge kind of arbitrarily goes, it'll fit. That's fine. And so the first time I get the version back from him, it's like, oh, this is a child size version. This is the trial size version. And he goes, well, that's what you gave me. He's like, oh, hell. So the next time I made sure to give him a box. This is 1 inch by 1 inch. and then he resized it. And I've never touched the Glowforge, but apparently it is super user, novice friendly. Fairly user-friendly, but the interface is really limited. So I guess it was kind of a problem for him to be real specific on sizes, because I needed to have the back of the spear get down to 1 inch so it could match up to the 1 inch acrylic rod I was using for the body of the spear, and it would all work, right? So anyway, that took, I think it took 3 tries to really get it right. I think there's only 2 in the video, but I believe it took 3 tries to get it right. And then he started cutting something else for me and burnt out his laser tube, and his Glowforge is still down.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's like, oh, man, I'm sorry, Sean.
So just so we know, we're throwing it out there, but
yeah,
it's his fault.
Oh, totally. So, yeah, it's completely my fault. Fully.
And Sean is, of course, another YouTuber.
Yes, Sean is another YouTuber that's actually close to me. His name is Sean Cash, and he has a YouTube channel called Try to Finish Something. And and on today's episode, and today I'm going to try to finish. I can't quite say his intro right now. He's great. He's years ago, he was a morning DJ here in Sacramento where I live. So I was listening to Sean Cash years ago, and now we're both doing this YouTube thing. And we had connected then and kind of sort of became friends. Now we're great friends. It's really cool. But he does a lot of Star Wars builds. He's part of the 501st. He's got the first couple episodes, Mandalorian 501st approved outfit. He has a 501st approved Shore Trooper outfit. So he's fun.
That's so very cool. So how long do you do like how do you plan? Do you like plan a week ahead, or are you months in advance and you know episodes that you're going to do like a year ahead? Kind of how does that process go?
Rarely am I a full year out. Like when I knew the new Bumblebee movie was coming out, it's like, okay, I'll make Bumblebee's head. And I looked at it and I did a little bit of research, and 10 months go by before I build it, because I don't really want to build it a whole lot in advance. I did in that time for some reason. So by the time I finally did it, it felt like work, because I've done all this stuff in the rears and I just waited around for it and the fire was out. So I'm usually not planning too far ahead. Like I said, I try to look to see what street dates are for new games or new movies, release dates. A street date is when a product hits the shelf. A release date is when a movie hits a theater. So I look for things like that as an idea of when I want to put something out. And sometimes it's Sunday, I better start something. I want a video for Monday. I guess I'll make a big Lego piece.
Sounds about right.
Yep.
Oh yeah. No, that's us sometimes where we go like, shouldn't we have planned this episode by now?
Right. Well, we're going to go live in an hour. I guess it's time to, does the computer boot?
Yeah.
I'm actually now the pandemic is breaking up. Yay, that band is finally breaking up. I've got a lot more con appearances coming up this year. I've got another one in San Diego next month, and I'll be in Oklahoma City on the 9th of April. So with those happening, especially those are travel days, right? In both cases, one I can drive to, the other one I have to fly to. I have to have a video ready to go. I have to get off my butt and get building ahead, or else I'm going to be hosed and miss a week.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's kind of something that, like, that happens with us is like, hey, we're doing a con next week. We should probably have some content up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gonna be tired. In fact, you guys were nice enough to schedule me for this week because I was at a con last week, and that was a good choice because this time last week I was asleep.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. It was just a one-day con in Stockton, which is only about an hour drive for me, but still I had
StocktonCon?
Yeah, StocktonCon. I was upstairs at StocktonCon.
Were you there? No, we didn't end up going to StocktonCon because we didn't get our media passes until Saturday. And it was like, well, my parents are coming over tomorrow, so I can't go to that show.
Yeah.
Oh, bummer. It was a good show, actually. They had a good turnout, but it wasn't nuts.
Mm-hmm.
I was upstairs on the fun deck. So at Stockton Con takes place in the Stockton Arena for all
Right.
of you listening. So the main dealer's floor and like the conference halls and artist alley is all down on the hockey rink or around the outside of the building where all the concession stands are. The fun deck is sort of the upper deck area that overlooks the arena. And they put a lot of the artists and actors and other guests up there. So that's where I got to sit. And I was across from C. Andrew Nelson, who was an ex-Lucasfilm employee. Yeah.
He's a friend of the show.
Andrew Nelson.
Oh, totally. Oh, he's great. Yeah.
Yeah, I love C. Andrew Nelson more than anybody in the world because that guy is he's been on our show twice.
Oh, awesome.
He had,
and I can agree.
First time, yeah,
he is such the antithesis of Darth Vader. He's such a wonderful guy.
He had so much fun on that first episode. He was like, "Can I come back on next week?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, man, let's do it."
Yeah.
And I was actually building the Vader head, so like there's the
oh nice
the Vader head,
yeah, the new Lego Vader head. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got that specifically so that I could interview him while we were doing that. And again, I've interviewed him at cons, so I had this is like that was like the third time I'd interviewed him, but it was like every time I interview him, it's fun.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love talking to him.
Yeah. And he's his wife Veronica Loud is absolutely a kick.
Cool.
They're
I'm
both
not sure if I've
so
met her.
much fun.
Okay.
Yeah, she worked on the Star Wars films as well. And he's got some really pretty cool stories about clouds that she put in the movie.
Oh.
Yeah.
Special clouds.
Yeah. I guess
they're special clouds.
Yeah, special clouds. Yeah. Because they processed that battle scene during with the Gungans.
Oh, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah. And she input clouds because there were no clouds, I guess, is the story.
Right.
He tells the story so much better than I do.
Okay.
But yeah.
Or better than anybody does.
Yeah, no. And of course he's got the fish. I don't know if you've ever seen his Aquatasy channel.
Aquatasy or
Aquatasy. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's fun.
And also you mentioned the pandemic, going back to something you said. How did you fare during that? I wondered for a little while because I know there was a lock on getting any supplies.
Right. Thankfully I have a small hoarding streak, so for the most part I was okay. The pandemic happened and it didn't hit me for about 6 months. So I didn't see it or really feel it financially until July. And then the revenue of the channel really took a nosedive, and I was grateful that I qualified for unemployment because I was still recent enough from having left my day job to start YouTube new, and they didn't actually fully let me go. I just kind of became an on-call employee, so I became this like, I qualified for unemployment. It's like, okay, yeah, I'll take that. And then it's like, all right, I'm doing good. It's Christmas, no more. Somebody else needs this.
Yeah.
But so that was, and I actually managed to keep content going out. I didn't miss a week. I haven't missed a week since I went weekly in early September of 2019, I think, just after I went to Dragon Con, and I haven't missed a week since.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of content.
That's a lot of content.
Yeah. I don't think people, everyone that doesn't stream understands that is I don't know how you sleep.
Very little, which thankfully I always did anyway. That's something I got from my mom. It's I've heard it called super sleeping in a way, but a full night's sleep, a full complete restful sleep is about 6 hours, and then I'm up. Yeah,
that's actually a decent night's sleep.
Yeah. Usually I'm about 4, but I try to like, okay, no alarm this time, and yeah.
I'm the same way. If I go down at midnight, I'm up at like 5 o'clock in the morning without an alarm, and I'm like, what is wrong with me? I found out that it's some sort of gene.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I guess some humans carry this gene from like an ancient ancestor that we wake up, I guess we had to like watch out for wild animals, and we developed this gene so that we could and you know take shifts. But anyway,
It's also a learned behavior though.
Yeah.
I've completely destroyed my circadian rhythm, for lack of a better term. So I can go to sleep whenever, I can wake up whenever. I don't have jet lag.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm from the military, and that again, that's why I say it's it is a learned behavior.
Totally a learned behavior. Yeah.
You can teach yourself to like learn on how much sleep you actually need to get. And I mean, it does mess with you when you get older, but it's like, it's one of those things where, like, you know, in my 20s, I survived on like, you know, 15-minute naps and 3 hours of sleep a night or something like that, you know. So it's like,
yeah, I'm not there anymore, but I'm still doing a lot of 4-hour because either I'm staying up too late playing video games or I'm just trying to get something done. And so naps happen a lot. I seem to want to crash about 3:30 a lot of days, but that's only about 15-20 minutes. Yeah.
I think that's part of being a grown-up. You're sort of like 3 o'clock, time to go to bed. I have to ask because we are huge Star Wars fans and Mandalorian fans. That seems to be 90% of what we talk about on this show.
Mandalorian is a great show.
Oh yeah. What do you think of that, by the way?
Oh, I thoroughly enjoyed Mandalorian season 1 and 2. I mean, it had highs and lows, and it had filler episodes like any TV production does. But overall, I could watch those again. Those were great.
How are you feeling about Book of Boba?
It's running a bit like the old school Star Trek movies. The even number episodes are good. Yeah. It's like, I really want to be excited about Robert Rodriguez. Oh, it's Spy Kids Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean,
this isn't the Star Wars I want.
Complete with Uncle Machete.
Yes.
Yes.
Which, fine, big shock. And the role they put him in is fine. But there's certain elements even to that. It's like, wow, that's pretty convenient for making new lore about the Rancor. Thanks.
I know. Did you ever watch any of the animated series?
I've seen most of the Clone Wars. I haven't seen Rebels. I've seen all of Droids. I've seen all of the Ewok Hour. I think that's most of them, right? Am I missing one? I'm missing one. There's one other episode. There was, so I've seen the majority of them.
Yeah.
Clone Wars, Rebels.
Clone Wars, Rebels.
Now I feel like I'm missing them.
Yeah.
Bad Batch.
Right. Okay. No, I haven't watched Bad Batch. No. Actually, that was one I got super excited about until I saw the Bad Batch in the 7th season. It's like, these guys?
Yeah.
You know, they need
pretty good.
What? Did you throw a dart at a dartboard for these personalities?
It was actually pretty good.
Yeah. I heard this. I heard the new series was actually really good, and I should give it a chance to watch. I haven't watched as much stuff recently. So
there is actually, I won't spoil it too much, but there is a tie between what's going on in Boba and what happened in the Boba in Bad Batch, which is kind of cool. We talked a little bit.
They've been doing a lot of that, where like they're tying everything together, and you're getting like a lot of stuff from like.
I blame Dave. I totally love that both Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett, and I'm sure Ahsoka and Obi-Wan's going to do it too, because they talk about it in the behind the scenes. They like grabbing the B action figures, the background action figures, and this is the one that they're going to use, and the fact that even some of the props are closer to the Kenner toys than they are to the original movies. I really appreciate. Yeah.
No. And I try to catch that stuff in like every episode, and it's like, oh my god, that's from the toys. You know,
right?
Like,
oh my god, that's the pilot from Star Tours. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. No, like we got a double of it. Like when Boba shows up and puts his armor on in the Mandalorian, knee rockets. Right. That was a toy thing.
Yes.
Right. And then again, when he armors up when they did do like the framed armor, like when he's armoring up in
the Rambo shot.
Yeah. They show him putting like loading the rockets in his knee again, and I'm like, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
Yes. And then he's got the toe spikes, doesn't he?
Yes.
Because Empire Strikes Back, I actually got a chance to meet Jeremy Bullock at a signing. And I was with a friend who had a fairly accurate Boba Fett costume. This is mid-90s. And Jeremy immediately talks about, oh, you got the toe spikes. Jeremy said that those were only in the promotional video photos, that they were fully part of the kit. But the first time he walked onto a Cloud City set and his toe caught the carpet, he face planted, and so the toe spikes came off, and they were not on for the rest of the movie.
That's pretty cool, though.
And I have to ask: is there anything that you look at with these shows and go like, I couldn't build that? Or
actually, it was more the other way around. I look at a lot of these shows and go, "Oh, did I build that?" Because oftentimes, like, "Wow, you guys could have done better."
I was gonna say, is there any time where you're just like, "Oh man, I can make a better version of that"?
I sometimes feel that way, but I know it's not always fair because I don't know what the production schedule is, and going back to me trying to provide solutions for how to make things for Smosh, same thing happens in larger productions. Morning of, this didn't work, we need something new. Bob, spray paint a shoebox. So it's not fair.
Right.
Nothing's coming to mind right now as far as any props that I've seen that's like, oh, I could have done better, or there's no way I could make that. I don't think so. The one thing I constantly say is doing a really good chrome, doing a legitimate like 50s car chrome on foam and clearing your throat is really hard to do on camera. And so that's one thing I kind of shy away from, because I know I'm not going to be able to pull off the chrome look inexpensively and easily. So, I've had people try to suggest the Culture Hustle chrome paint to me, and that looks good. But at the same time, I can still see that once they're doing, even once it's dry in their Facebook ads, I can still see, drops and runs in the paint, and that would drive me nuts.
Because you want it to
it's a great chrome.
Yeah, like you want it to actually look like metal. So it's like I understand. Even again, I don't really build armor, but I critique stuff that I look at, and it's like, oh, okay, I can see the paint runs on that. It doesn't look realistic enough for me.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Although you do have bubbling with metal, so it doesn't bother me that much sometimes.
Right. There's a lot of the weathering of the used universe that goes into Star Wars. So if you get something, you can just work it in as, this is just part of it.
Yeah.
So, I do still walk the line between I'm making a prop that's kind of faithful to what I see on screen, and making a prop that's kind of faithful to what I have in my head as my interpretation of what I see on screen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people don't have that connection, that what you have in your head is a amalgamation of a number of props that were specially built for the shot they needed to be in. And so it's rare to have a all-in-wonder prop that does everything, or one that's just perfect from every angle, versus the one that, I can throw this off a building and it's okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
We have a few comments. One says, our co-producer is actually in the chat. Would love to have you come to Capitola Collecticon and meet 5 Boba Fett's, which is
really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
There are still tables available. And Capitola Collecticon is March 4th, March 5th and 6th, but really it's they kind of have theme days, right? So like March 5th is Sons of Anarchy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
March 6th is all Star Wars, and there's actors. Well, so there's going to be 5 of the living, 5 of the living Boba Fett's are going to be there.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. The only one that's not there is Tamora Morrison. So I mean, like it's pretty crazy. Like Daniel Logan's going to be there, and he's awesome. So it's like,
okay. And you're not going to have Jeremy Bullock in an urn, Monty Python style.
Yeah. As much as we would want Jeremy Bullock there, but
I mean,
right.
Yeah. You can't exactly sign anything, so I mean.
Yeah. Dark humor is dark.
Yeah.
Is Jeremy Bullock there? Well,
in spirit.
They kind of had to, get him from beyond the grave. So,
right.
We got the Ouija board here. It's okay.
Yeah. The coffin is sitting in the middle of the con.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes.
Dark humor. I'm really bad. I'm the worst.
There's a Monty Python sketch all about having Miss Marilyn Monroe appear in a movie, but surely she's dead. Oh, well, we have her falling out of closets. We have her scaring the children, but she was cremated. But she's in every shot. She's in the ashtray. She's in the vacuum cleaner. We use a lot of stand-ins.
Oh, no.
I love Monty Python so much.
Yeah.
What are some of the biggest challenges building replicas versus something actually used on set? Because we talked a little bit about the spear. What has been some of your more challenging builds other than that one?
Okay, so I'm hearing two different questions. The first question I was hearing is, what are the challenges? And I kind of hit that a little bit earlier. The big challenge is meeting your personal expectations for what the prop should look like. And that's a tough one, and knowing when it's good enough and when it's okay to be done. Now, as far as ones I've actually done, see, what are some ones that are more challenging? Obviously, all the big ones are more challenging. Like, there was a lot of challenges with keeping all the parts of the Gundam, because we made a full body Gundam suit. Gundam's a giant Japanese robot from '79. So it's a cosplay that somebody can wear. Keeping all the pieces sized right and in a way that they look cohesive as a single unit when we built the whole thing over the course of a year. Same type of thing with Mechagodzilla. I made a full 1974 Mechagodzilla for my suit, and trying to keep it so all the parts look like that belong together over the period of a year is a little weird, because as you move along, you get better at what you're doing and have a better idea on how to do stuff. So at this point, I really kind of want to go back and change the head. But at the same time, I'm sort of Edna mode where don't look back, you know?
Yeah.
No, that.
Yeah. Fine, I'll fix the Hopo suit. I do actually enjoy little challenges. I just don't always take them on because of my time frame. Soul Edge was great because there was a ton of EVA foam clay that I put on that. That's the demon sword behind me, where it's all the muscle and veins all throughout the middle of it. That's tubs and tubs of EVA foam clay. And that took like a better part of a month to build. So I had to build other projects while it was drying and doing its thing. So that was kind of a fun challenge. There's a lot of things with the gravity gun that I built for Half-Life 2. It has a radial design around the main body chamber that's 9 pieces. Thankfully, that divides into 360 pretty easily, but the idea of doing something in 9s was weird, and it has to be 9 because it has 3 claws, so everything has to kind of match up. Anyway, the artist in me steps back and goes, yeah, that's not square. You know, but it doesn't matter. It looks great up on the wall just out of camera view, and it's one of my favorite props. So
yeah, I mean, it's always true. Like, you know, as an artist, you are your worst critic.
Oh, in a big way. Yeah. Because you'll hyper focus on the part you don't like, whereas you show it to somebody new, they see the thing as a whole, and it's like, wow, that's the gravity gun. That's awesome.
Right.
Yeah. That's something else that was really hard to learn.
Speaking of the props, what do you choose to take with you to cons? Because I notice you do have a Etsy where you sell some of your stuff, but you do display some stuff on your cons, the cons.
A lot of the things I take to cons are stuff that's going to be able to be handled by other people, because a big part of it is I make toys and I want other people to be able to play with the toys. I don't want to set up a don't touch exhibit. So people get a chance to take selfies and check things out. So some of the stuff that's a little more delicate that may not survive an enthusiastic child running up to it, which happens, that doesn't go. Also, it depends on what can be packed, because if I'm taking stuff, it's usually being loaded up to a box and loaded into a truck, and it's going to be vibrated for hours. So it needs to be able to survive whatever packing it's going into. And I can't do really nice Ark of the Covenant packing because I don't have enough truck.
I like that.
Right? I would love to do that, but I can't do that. Boba Fett. Perfect. Which on my Facebook page, I have that as my favorite movie quote. The Wilhelm scream, not Boba Fett. So that's a big part of what I take to cons. It's what I can actually share with other people, what I can show off. I don't generally take things once they've been posted to Etsy, because I want them to remain as in good a condition as it can be. And Etsy became kind of a necessary evil out of the pandemic as well, to make sure that enough funds was coming in to float the family. Right. So that's kind of where that came from. As well as there's the necessity of, I'm making a new prop a week. That means I had 52 new things last year and 52 things the year before. I've only got so much wall.
Yeah.
I was wondering about that. Like, you know, how does he decide what to keep and what to sell?
Yeah, there's a few things that I think I'm a little more attached to, but overall, as new stuff gets produced and new stuff gets made, some of the older stuff gets easier to let go of, even though when I made it, it was the new thing and there's no way this is going anywhere. It's like, oh yeah, that, all right. So it's distance from the project kind of, and as well as much like building a prop because it's coming out in the theaters, you'll put a prop up for sale because it's coming out on video, type of a thing. It's still trying to capitalize on the general public search engine algorithm, as opposed to trying to hope that everyone's just excited about what Odin's doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I think a lot of people are in general. Is like, hey, what's Odin doing?
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. What's really weird is I'm doing the stuff that I've always done, right? I've always built things to entertain myself. I've sculpted replica masks for Planet of the Apes. I did Rocky Horror Picture Show for years, just finessing the props we had in front of the screen as the reenactment cast, you know, the super early cosplay. That's the stuff I did to entertain myself when I wasn't working. And so now that I'm doing this now as my job and as working, it's weird because I'm just kind of doing what I've always done to entertain myself, and people are excited about it. It's kind of weird.
And it's as always, right? It's if you enjoy what you're doing, you'll never work a day of your life, right? So I mean, like, you're not actually working.
Pretty much.
You're doing what you enjoy. You just have to make money off the things you enjoy.
Right. And there's still work aspects to it because I can't be a total artist and go, I don't feel like it this week. No, no, that doesn't fly. But you are right. When I actually get here, because this is the shop where I actually do all my building, and start building, I always go into, okay, this is great and fun and I enjoy it like every dang time.
Right.
So the parts I don't like, writing. And when everything's all said and done, I got to sit down and start banging out a script of what my voiceover is going to be and actually write it down.
Oh,
which, that was a good idea for me to start doing that when I started doing that. Because I didn't at first. I winged it.
Yeah, I know all about
that.
So I know all about scripting and everything because I have to do it for our show in general.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, that's work.
Yeah.
But nobody else can do it. Nobody else can write down what it is I did. That's not fair. That's not productive. And there's no one can recreate the goofy inner dialogue I might have had while I was working on it. Right. So, yeah.
Do you often sometimes write down while you're creating what your inner dialogue is or your process?
Very, very rarely. Sometimes I try to think about, okay, I got to remember this. But anymore, since when I'm building, I almost always have all of my cameras. I do a multi-camera shoot. I have almost all my cameras running all of the time. So I'm mic'd up wearing the same mic, standing in the spot. So doing a thing, and I have this idea, I can just look at the camera and go, hey, this reminds me of that time that we used an ostrich egg to make it look like a giant piece of silly putty. But, so, which is totally not true. That was all made up on the spot. But, that's the type of thing that pops up.
I am curious because you recently did an episode of a prop that doesn't even exist, which was the power converter at Tashi Station.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, and I nailed it. It came out the same episode that Boba Fett went to Tashi Station, even though they didn't make a big deal out of it, which I also really appreciated. Yeah. I really hope Fixer and Camby comes back.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you, was it just something that was in your head? You're like, yeah, this is what it probably looks like.
Pretty much. Yeah. It was the parameters of, I need to do it quick. I need to do it easy. I want to use stuff that's based off of something else. The idea that Luke was going to hop in his land speeder and go pick up a couple from Tashi Station, like it was no big deal. That also kind of gave me the impression that they were a little smaller, something you could carry. Like, I'm going to go run out and buy a new car battery. I'm going to go run out and buy a car part, right?
Yeah.
And so that was, a lot of those things influenced my decisions. And a lot of that probably comes from Smosh, when I would be given, oftentimes I have to recreate a prop for Smosh, but there was times that we had to make something up new. And it was like, we need one of these things. Like, okay. So you read the script, look at what it does, how it relates to what's going on. You start to try and think about what kind of space is this thing going to take up, and how does it need to work so they can make it look like it's working. That type of thing.
Gonna go to Toshi,
Then I was going to go to Toshi Station and pick up. Well, you'll have time to mess around with your friends when your chores are done now.
Famous last words, literally.
Right. Totally. Because when your chores are done, guess what? You're going to have more chores.
Yeah.
Oh, you got those done quick. I got some more for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's and this is just kind of going off tangent, but it's because it's in my head right now.
What's off tangent?
I know. Right? Well, no, it is. I'm going on a tangent. So the whole thing with that, right, is he says, okay. So I'm sorry. I'm linking here.
So that's okay. I stumbled earlier.
Yeah, I know, right? And Empire, right? When you first see Boba, right? Specifically, Vader tells him, "And no disintegration," and he says, "As you wish," right? If you go back to episode 4 and you see Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru after they've been killed, they've essentially been disintegrated. So there's a rumor, or not a rumor, but like a conspiracy
theory.
Yeah, fan theory that Boba Fett is the one that killed Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru, and the reason that Vader said no disintegration was because, dude, you killed my stepdad and my
you killed my stepbrother, or
stepbrother,
you killed my extended
brother-in-law. That's fun. Actually, I hadn't heard that fan theory, and I like that because there's no other trooper. But I guess Ben tried to play it off as the troopers are trying to make it look like Tusken Raiders did it,
right?
Which, of course, we've seen that they don't do that either.
Yeah,
yeah.
But it was I thought that was like a fun-ish theory. Not really fun, but I mean that's the wrong word. Right. I mean, you know what I mean?
You're right. They're gonna kill Uncle Peru, or the other way around.
They killed Uncle Peru, but because you don't see that type of kill anywhere else in Star Wars.
No, you don't. And it took until Mandalorian season 2 to see another stun beam.
Right.
Right.
So I mean, I think that I like that theory that the Fett is the reason why Vader tells him specifically no disintegration, and he goes, "As you wish."
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah, that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
No, totally. Yeah, that's great. And if that comes out in a flashback or something, that'd be cool.
I hope so, right? Because that interpersonal. Another one that was pointed out to me was does he just like Boba because he sounds like his former friends?
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Of course, the sad truth is they were trying to create Boba to become the new big bad guy for Return of the Jedi. And so they were trying to introduce him as here he comes, he's the big one. And then somewhere along the lines, things got switcherooed and chuck up in the pit. Yeah. Thanks.
and then you get Boba Fett.
And speaking of Boba Fett, you built his staff.
Yes, the Beskars, the Dangerins, the Mandalorians. I can't pronounce Din's name.
Din Djarin?
Yes, Din. Was it
Din Djarin?
Din Djarin. Okay, Din Djarin. I built his staff.
Oh no, you built Boba Fett's.
The gaffy stick.
The gaffy stick. Yes.
Sorry,
I don't know why I was blanking on that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that video's done really well for me. I'm happy with that. And that worked out really well.
Yeah.
I was with that particular one because I knew Book of Boba Fett was coming up, so I was planning ahead on what I'm going to do for my build. Shortly after Boba Fett was shown in season 2, I decided, I'll make his EE3 blasters, his carbine, right? Mm-hmm. And I started getting 3D models of that, so I could look at how the parts went together, and I could get things scaled up, right? Which is one of the things I look at as tools for reference. And started printing out slices of it so I could have a template to work with. And then something else came out that was way much a cooler and fun idea. So I did that instead, and that whole project went to the shelf. Book of Boba Fett's coming out. I'll bring that back out. I actually started looking at it again, and then I see Stephen K. Smith from SKS Props is posting, look what I'm making. And it's like, okay. And the best part about YouTube is there's enough playground for everybody to play. It really isn't competition, right? I mean, there is, because people like to compare things, but there isn't in broadcast TV where it's appointment TV and a pair of eyes can only watch one out of the 3 programs at 6 o'clock.
Right.
So that doesn't exist in YouTube, which is wonderful. So I could have done it, but at the same time, I don't want to like step on Steve's toes necessarily, because I have a larger subscription base than he does. And then at the same time, Steve is a fantastic artist, and I know he's going to nail it. So, let him do it. And so I did the Gaffy Stick instead. And actually, I'll be appearing at a con with Steve in April in Oklahoma. So I'm looking forward to getting to hang out with him again.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
It turns out that the Gaffy Stick is way more badass anyways.
Turns out, yes.
Yeah. Oh, and someone asked, which is our producer again, did it ever cross your mind to use an ice cream maker bucket?
Oh, yeah. I've thought about the ice cream maker buckets because I've enjoyed that since Empire Strikes Back. I haven't tried to get one. And as far as making one from scratch, that's one of those things where I haven't researched how much it's going to cost to get an ice cream maker. But the cost of doing it out of foam and the time to do it out of foam versus possibly just buying one that's already close, that's a cost analysis I need to look at for which direction to go on that. Like even in today's live stream, because I live stream every Monday on my channel, I get asked, why haven't I made a Master Sword from Legend of Zelda? And the truth is, because they're too easy to get a hold of. It's going to take more effort, and it's actually going to cost more for me to build one than to just get one.
Makes sense.
Because I hear that that it's quite the opposite with the ice cream bucket, where
it probably is at this point, like the Keurig coffee maker. Yeah,
where it's getting impossible to like get a hold of it because so many fans are like, I want to use it and like run around with it underneath my arm for no particular reason.
Right. I'm evacuating Cloud City.
Yeah.
Well, at least now we know he was running around with his, best car or other valuables, but still.
Yeah. Like you know, grabbing the bank and leaving.
Grab the piggy bank. Yeah. I love all the weird little references they're pulling into all those shows, all the stuff from the holiday special, all the stuff from the animated shows, the little tidbits from like books.
I've ridden bigger. That's right. He wrote a mythosaur in the holiday special.
Right.
Is there anything that you haven't built yet that you've been really just thinking about over and over again?
Well, there's always those secret projects that you don't want to like tip your hand to the internet, right?
Yeah.
But other ones that I've always had some interest in doing, but I probably won't actually get around to doing. I really love to do Kanada's by a motorcycle from Akira. That was something I wanted to do way early on, back when I first saw, a bootleg copy on VHS tape, because hey, we're NTSC, they're NTSC, this works. NTSC, by the way, was the codec of video that worked on analog machines way back when we rode dinosaurs to school.
I was going to say, I'm excited because I think it's been shelved for the moment, but they were making an Akira movie, and I've been like, I've been excited.
Kaika.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. I've been excited to see what that's going to look like, because I know a lot of people didn't like. I'm forgetting the name of the other one that came out.
Ghost in the Shell.
Not Ghost in the Shell. It was.
Okay. Battle Angel.
Battle Angel. A lot of people didn't like Battle Angel. I liked it. I thought it was good.
Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah.
I did not realize that was Robert Rodriguez. But I mean, I dug it. I like the look of it. The cyberpunk look was like dead on to me.
The design was great. Everything was dead on. My complaint was they put a movie and a half into one movie. They could have pulled a subplot out, and it would have made a better flowing movie, which is a really weird thing to say, because I've been such an effects and prop guy forever that for me to complain about like story, I got old at some point.
A lot of that studio too. The studio is like, we want to put as much as out as possible, and they don't care about drawing
Right.
story. I mean, like a lot of it, they're starting to learn that now, and it's taking like Disney for people to figure that out.
Right.
But I mean, like, we're getting to a point where we'll probably get a reboot at some point, because like Disney's about to reboot Real Steel, right? Again,
okay,
another graphic novel that didn't get its just due, and now the reboot that they're doing is the reboot they're doing is a TV show on Disney Plus.
So Real Steel, this is the Hugh Jackman Rock'em Sock'em Robots movie, or is this Real Steel the super? Well, Disney Plus, so it's not Superman. Okay.
No, it's the Rock'em Sock'em robot movie.
Okay, cool.
And it's like, so like Disney's figuring out, like, hey, here's a property that had a lot of potential that didn't do anything. I'm still waiting on them to do the Black Cauldron, because that has a lot of potential.
Right.
But, they screwed that up in the 80s.
Oh yeah. I was excited that they were going to do a Black Hole sequel shortly after Tron Legacy, but then Tron Legacy didn't really do as well as they wanted. But if you actually step back and just look at Tron Legacy, that is a very faithful sequel to Tron. So they did a really good job with that, even though it's a slower paced movie.
That's one of those movies that I put on repeat. Like, I will watch that movie, and like, it's one of those movies where I would like put it on and just go to sleep to that movie, because it's so good.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep, it is.
No, that movie actually had me listening to Separate Ways over and over again.
Hey, how do you get people on the journey? Let's put them on.
Yeah.
Yep. What, we all don't all stand around singing Open Arms?
No.
I know, right?
I used to do video editing for PBS, the local PBS station here in Sacramento called KVIE. And there was a program called Art Showcase. And I got to be the primary person to edit the local story and then assemble the episodes from the other PBS stations that we could pull segments from. And the producer and I got to be really good friends. And she would come in and say, I don't know, just put on some kind of like a music that's a Journey. Make sure you got Journey music. So at some point I found a good instrumental version of Escape, and that's all I used for the piece. Here, some Journey music.
Best part of that whole thing is that she probably meant, like, to go on the journey with, and you took it literally. Journey. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. She meant like, some sort of adventure, some sort of like, no, I think my best music direction she gave me for any of those pieces I did, it was for I'm blanking on the artist's name, but anyway, he would do a lot of sculptures with bullets and skulls, or did a lot of figure sculpting. But anyway, she says, here's his art, here's pictures of his art. What I'm really thinking about is something Game of Thrones. Can you get something that's got like that feel to it? And sure, I can. The PBS station would pay for there's a British music library service called DeWolf. And trust me, viewers, listeners, this music because you've heard it in everything. So I can pull from anything in this like almost 100-year-old library of music that's from England. This is the same music library that Monty Python, going back to, pulled all their stuff from. So the theme song to Flying Circus is totally in there. The Philip Sousa March, that recording is in that library. Half the soundtrack for Holy Grail is in the library, and you can still find it by logging on. Yeah.
Holy Grail was the first thing that I thought of, because like I was watching it the other day, and I was like, there's no way that they made this epic music just for this movie.
Nope, that was all production music. That was all canned music. It was most of it came off of LPs at the time.
There's a question of how do we find this DeWolf site?
Well, DeWolf, you can find it. You can't hear all the music from it unless you're actually subscribing. But it's DEWOLFE. And I think that's all it is. It's DeWolf.com. I'm pretty sure. But if you Google that, you should be able to find it. It's a British site. And you can listen to a lot of the music. And DeWolf has taken some of their tracks and put them onto CDs that you can purchase, including some of the Monty Python tracks. I think they actually put together a Monty Python soundtrack. It's you can find it. It's their business. They're not hiding.
Gotta check Apple Music, because a lot of times Apple Music will have that stuff like curated from stuff like that.
They might. DeWolf has very much a there's a contractual agreement with them that you're not going to repost the music in its entirety somewhere else, that you're using it to remix it into your new piece. And so that's what your contract is. So hopefully it's not a whole lot on Apple Music, but that doesn't mean that doesn't happen.
Well, I mean, because Apple Music, like that, they have a clause too, where you're not allowed to reuse the music. Like technically, not supposed to be doing this, but like the music that's playing in the background of this, but it's also from a company that is specifically, what's the word I'm looking for? Like it's
royalty free.
It's royalty free,
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I have some royalty-free music in my show, and I have some that I paid for a long time ago, and I've reread the terms and conditions. Like, no, I can still use it the way you wrote it. They changed it since, but my contract says I can still use it. There's a couple of local people that may be some royalty-free music, and I need to get a hold of them again and get some more tracks made, because I really like the music that they made for me.
And there is a question of how much of your process is creative and how much of it is acquired skill, which I am curious, because you do a lot. Yeah, you do a lot of builds that are very technical. Do you have any formal training that you do you have any formal training that you bring into it?
That is an easier question to answer. No, I have extremely little formal training, if you want to call it formal training. I took a puppetry class in community college. My dad was a inventor, designer, engineer. He was trained by the rail yards. So he was totally used to working with metal, and at a very early age showed me he can make anything out of a block of metal, right? Well, here's this thing, and do this thing, and do this thing in there. Now it's a boat, and it's a whistle, and but that was a hunk of aluminum. So as far as real formal schooling training, no. The majority of the skills I've got is from desire. It's, I want to make a thing. This sounds like the way I want it to work. How do I figure out how to do that? Or what do I read? So it's been a lot of self-taught, and a lot of that was done pre-internet, which was really a slow way to do it, and sometimes expensive way to do it.
Right. Because now a lot of people can just look up Odin Makes and learn how to do stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially not in like the late 80s or the 90s. I mean, there's definitely books that were fantastic. Tom Savini put out a book. I have a copy called Bizarro that he autographed for me, which was his first print. Now it's called Grand Illusions. And it's all about his makeup that he did for the different horror movies and Dawn of the Dead, Creep Show, and so forth. All of his early films. He has since made a sequel book called Grand Illusions 2. That's some of the later movies. That was one of the first books that really went more in depth, because he took pictures of his work even at that time. He talked about how he made, the Jason Voorhees bust and how it would work, and how he made them would take a machete and make a cookie bite out of the machete so you could put it up against the real actor's neck. And now you've got a great effect of the machete cutting into a real actor instead of trying to make a fake actor and hit it with a real machete. Right. Yeah. Of course, the opposite is true with a shotgun. You can take a fake shotgun and try and shoot an actor, and it looks okay. But if you make a fake head analog and shoot it with a real shotgun, it's horrifying.
Yeah. It just explodes. It's disgusting.
Yes. And there's actually, what was it, Martin, I think? I don't think it was The Crazies. I think it was the movie called Martin, where there's a sequence. Tom Savini is driving a car in the movie. He's got a little bit part in the movie. And there's a point when the killer jumps on the hood of the car and shoots a shotgun through the windshield to kill the driver. Well, he made a head cast of himself, made this analog head of himself with stuff up inside of it, plaster of Paris skull, latex on the outside, sets the dummy up in the driver's seat. He made it. He has to shoot it because he knows how to shoot it. So here he is under the Brooklyn Bridge with a real shotgun, getting ready to shoot himself in the head at dawn for the perfect shot. And it's a super low budget movie. They had no permits. So it's like, okay, you ready? Action. Bang! Set's cleared in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That's so meta. I love it.
They call that guerrilla filming.
That is totally guerrilla filming.
Never. Yeah. I don't recommend it. I've done it.
No.
Don't do it.
No, that was done late 70s, early 80s, and the amount of trouble you get in then versus now is way different.
Yeah. No, I did that in film school because you don't have the money for that kind of permit.
No.
Yeah, you get these amazing ideas, and you have to be very young and very stupid.
Yep.
And I've done that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Very young, very stupid.
I've got a friend that does get permits for everything. He does everything as legitimate as he can. With the past couple of years, things have gotten to be really weird to the point that he used to have $1 million insurance policy for a day's shoot, right? It was easy to get a hold of. It was a simple thing to get a hold of. So this would cover in case anything goes wrong during the day's shoot. Anybody gets hurt, whatever. He's got $1 million insurance. He can't get one now for $25 million. And the cost of getting it is more than the entire day's production, just because of COVID. And it's gotten to the point that he's not really able to shoot legitimately like he really wants to and has his whole time, because they've made it unattainable. So yeah, it's not fair.
Yeah. They're trying hard to discourage that stuff. I went to film school in the early 2000s. I started in about 2008, 2009, and it's so much different even now. Where you could put out signs. I think you still can in some places where you put out signs and say, "I'm filming. If you get on my film, too bad, tough."
Basically, yes.
Yeah.
KVIE is able to do that as long as we are in a publicly accessible public land area, like the sidewalk. We literally had crew shirts that on the back of the shirt said, "We are filming here. If you walk by, you are. If you happen to walk by what we're doing, you are consenting to have your image on our video."
Right.
Yeah.
Which that would not fly now at all, but it did then. Yeah.
Yeah, because
I consented to nothing.
Yeah.
I get nothing.
Oh yeah.
Well, you will get nothing and you will like it, sir.
Right. There's people all the time that wandering onto sets that don't belong that end up in the movies because that clause was acceptable. Star Trek 4 was one of the ones where, do you know the nuclear vessels? And one of the people that goes by, she was not a paid extra. I think the woman who was legitimately trying to help, I think that was a legitimate person who was just trying to help and had no idea there was a camera at her.
I once
I can help you guys. I can help you.
I can help you. I think it's over there in Alameda. I know Alameda. That's what I said.
I know what I'm doing. Hello.
I know what I'm doing. And it could be wrong. It may not be her. It might be there's also an old woman that goes by that doesn't say as much. It's one of those two. I'm not sure which one anymore.
I think my craziest one was I was on a shoot as a student. It wasn't necessarily my project, but it caught someone who was having an affair, and the production got They were holding hands, and they were both married, I guess.
Oh,
and,
Cowboys game.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I
Traffic
guess they both
tickets.
they sued us, and we're like, well, it's not our fault if you were doing something. Yeah.
Like I said, that was the Cowboys game last weekend. The guy who famously became a meme, crying with his girlfriend. Apparently, that was his side chick.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
His wife caught him, and basically he was supposed to be at the game with the boys. He was at the game, side chick
with the girl.
Oops.
Yeah. We actually we're and I know this is a little off topic, but we're actually based in Sacramento. So there are some people asking, where did you learn? American River College, Sac City College? Because I know some of those are the local colleges.
I went to American River College in 1987, 88, 89. I took puppetry with Kathy Burleson as well as costume design. Kathy Burleson's a fantastic teacher. And to my best of my knowledge, she's still there, isn't she? I think, to some extent. I also did anthropology with Stobla, who only recently retired. Yeah, exactly. We all had Stobla. She was great. I actually had a 5-digit student ID number at and I didn't even know it because at the time I went, we just used our social security number as our student ID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is entirely dangerous.
Now it didn't matter then.
Yeah.
Back then, no one cared.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one cared. It didn't matter. Oh, but it's this. Okay, they type it in. Here's your stuff. Only more recently, when my spouse was looking up that, you find out, I actually have a student number.
Yeah. It's funny because I just went back to community college myself. I'm taking a building.
Cool.
And yeah, it's funny because I've been really interested in cosplay myself, and I'm like, I should probably learn a little technical skill here. But yeah, like I was just like, I remember my my student ID number. I can't believe it after all these years.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you get used to repeating it back constantly, or at least I did at the time. In order to get access to anything.
Yeah.
But no, taking classes is great. Whether it's going to be at a community college, or if you get like some sort of outreach through your high school, or you go out to the makerspace. There's one in Rockland. There's one downtown, I think, because you'll get a chance to take classes with equipment that you don't own, and you can actually see, oh, this is really cool. And then after a couple of hours, okay, screw welding. And you didn't put that much into it.
In fact, some of these maker spaces, because I started looking at where to get a forge after you did that episode.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I can never imagine even buying one of those, but the maker spaces do have them.
They do have them. You can also, if you want to make crucibles and forges, there are ways of going about doing it using fireplace bricks and blowers and propane and whatnot. I had a friend in Carmichael that was doing some of his own castings from. He was reclaiming precious metals out of electronics, so he was casting his own ingots, and that was really fun because he just had this little thing set up in his garage, and he was melting all sorts of crap.
Well, I meant the glow forge. Those things are.
Oh, the glow forge. Excuse me.
Yeah, sorry.
Those are impressive.
You guys, you can kind of see the top corner of his head right here.
Oh yeah, he's which one are you building?
Darth Maul.
Darth Maul.
Nice.
Yeah.
All
It's
right.
the Sith painting.
Right. So sorry, yeah, Glowforge. They didn't have the Glowforge brand laser cutters at Dallas Makerspace. They had a much bigger industrial one. And I've got a friend that did research early with Glowforge. He's in Grass Valley, and bought a China-made off-brand, but it the idea was the parts. So Glowforge is a fantastic entry piece of machinery. When parts go south, usually they get a high replacement cost, and that's what my friend was looking at. Was like, well, what's the life of the laser? What's the replacement cost of the diode? And so he figured out that this other one he wanted to do instead, even though it cost a little more money up front with buying all the stuff that went along with it. Later on, it was going to be cheaper to replace the diode, which is a part that's going to wear out. And that's actually what went wrong with Sean's. The diode died.
I know. It's funny because I'm hearing stories like this, and I'm like, that's already a lot of money to buy the thing.
It is,
and
isn't
then
it?
It breaks, and it's like almost more than the thing is worth.
Right. It's sort of like buying ink for an inkjet printer. It's almost cheaper to go buy a new printer.
Yeah.
You won't get as much ink, but
I figure it'll go the way of the 3D printer, where you can buy a pretty cheap 3D printer now, but it was thousands of dollars when they first came out.
Yes.
So I assume
and they're already getting there. I've seen a few businesses have contacted me. Hey, do you want to review our laser? It's like, yeah, I do, and then I don't hear from them. But they're coming. There's been a number of very open source. So Glowforge is a very nicely made, piece of machinery that sits on your shelf, and you know what it is, and it's a finished product, and it's got a housing. We're getting ones that just have a few standoffs and safety goggles.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you go,
all right.
Yeah, no. What in fact, there's a good question. Is there any projects that you would love to revisit?
Right. Yes, there's a couple that I would really like to revisit. And it's sort of finding the right time or way to do it. I want to fix things about my Mechagodzilla head. It was the first thing that I made, and when I look at it now, I'm still happy with it, but I compare it to what I see in the videos, in the movie. I have his eyes are too tall. The whole brow sits higher. My intent when I originally built it was to make the brow come down so his square eyes become more like rectangles. And that didn't happen in the build, as well as his nose is too skinny. I was gonna use some clay to make it bigger, but I was running out of time and it wasn't gonna be able to dry. So screw it, moving on. So my Mechagodzilla face, I look at it and go, yeah, you kind of look like Bill the Cat. That surprised look. I mean, he doesn't, but he kind of does. It's just his whole head's kind of skinny. And it is a little too skinny. It's not a lot skinny, but it's a little too skinny, but it's tall, which exaggerates the skinny. So I want to make it not as tall. I wouldn't mind redoing the portal gun. What was some of the other ones I was thinking about? A con favorite is the Matrix of Leadership from Transformers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I wouldn't mind making a new one of those because that was one of the things I made my first year, and I'm sure I could do it differently now. And I've even thought about how to do this in a way that I could maybe cast the parts and make a kit, because I think that would be kind of fun. So a couple of the things that I've talked about doing.
Yeah, I have to say I was really inspired by your Sylvie build, where you did her knife. Because there was a part where you said, "Oh, I don't know exactly what the writing is, and that's good enough." And I was like, "Wow! Like, you don't have to be perfect." Yeah, because sometimes, we're our own worst critic. And he's like, "That's not perfect."
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was great that there was the one shot when she smacked it, and you could read what was on the blade, or dang near read everything that's on the blade, but you could see there's something else in the handle.
One of those things where pausing it, no matter what you do, is not going to give you what you need.
No.
Right. You've even dump it into Photoshop and adjust the levels and blow things out and the contrast. And okay, I can kind of see it, but at what point are you changing what it's saying too?
Right.
Yeah.
I've heard it called the 5-foot rule, which is a general cosplay term. It's kind of the 10-foot rule or first row or even middle of the house rule for plays, where if you're building something and what you've built looks good and is understandable for what it is to the person sitting in the third row, that's it. You got it. Everyone else is going to be okay with it. And so then you also, that translates to the 10-foot rule. Somebody 10 feet away looks at the thing and goes, "Oh, yeah, okay, that's the Pan-Galactic Argo Blaster. I know exactly what that is." A lot of times with cosplay, they start calling it the 5-foot rule. So now we're getting more and more nitpicky. But with 3D printers and with a lot of skill sets that are flying around and being shared, people can do that. And that's all you need. As well as William Shakespeare said it a few times, and I've said it in my channel, that how it looks in photographs is almost more important than how it looks in life. Because you're going to have the photographs and other people are going to have the photographs a lot longer than you're going to have the direct experience. And you're going to remember the photograph better. So he's done things, and I've done it a little bit too, where he's got a lot of reflective tape on it. So it's reflecting the light back to the camera to make it look like it's glowing when it's not really in life. And with a lot of my stuff, LEDs are wonderful with the type of video that's a digital video on your cell phone or like the camera I'm looking at, because they are so much brighter than the surrounding light. Even on the con floor, they always do that star effect and look more motion picture and brighter than they really are.
Right.
And that works in your favor.
So LEDs are a big go-to for you?
Oh, in a big way, yeah. I call it rewiring flashlights. Yeah, totally a big go-to for me.
Let's see. We're getting comments. I'll buy the Matrix of Leadership right now. Yeah.
Right? That's the one where I'm disappointing people every con. Probably you guys even. I bet you walked up and like, maybe I can't buy it.
James is, for those that may not know this, but he is a huge Transformers fan.
Yeah.
Specifically
Soundwave.
Good. Turned on. Good.
Oh, wow.
Right. Soundwave is great. Yeah, so the Matrix of Leadership. And of course, the Matrix of Leadership can't be a complete prop unless it does the thing, right? So.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun to do. I banged it really hard and made the light turn off, but yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
It's one of those lights where you push the top and it'll turn off. So if it bounces too much, it'll turn itself off.
Oh, that's
But yeah, that was one. I would love to redo this one.
I see that Captain
Probably
America
should.
shield in the background right there, and I remember watching
yeah.
actually cut that and do a video on how you cut it. I thought that was
that was fun.
Yeah.
That was Thorcules in the video. That was Thorcules' idea. We got to do this thing, and just as a social media thing, it's like, okay, it's like, well, why don't I make a video out of this?
Yeah,
I thought that was awesome.
because you did another episode where you actually did the whole shield, where it's intact. So, were those were two different shields, right?
Oh, no, it's the same shield. I've only ever made one Captain America shield. Yeah, that is the shield.
Oh no!
That was part of the fun of doing that.
Yeah, through it.
Yeah.
What's that?
Said, and now Thanos has cut through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now Thanos has cut through it. Yeah, because vibranium isn't the toughest metal in the galaxy.
Right,
Just on
it's
Earth.
the toughest metal on Earth.
Yeah. Yeah, that was great because McThor was here as well. So I had two different Thor cosplayers while Odin cut up the shield. So that was a lot of fun. And if you watch the video on that one, I'm cutting along, right? We're trying to all do it in one take. So I bring out the saw and I start cutting it. And what happened here in the shop is there was leather straps for the belt that I had made to attach to the arm. I had forgotten about those. And they were glued on the inside. So as I'm cutting the saw, I hit a leather strap. Well, the saw isn't going to cut the leather strap. It just moves it around.
Yeah.
So we actually had to cut the cameras and I had to get in there and cut the strap out with a knife and then continue the cut with the saw. So in the video, when you watch it, it suddenly cuts to a closer cut. And that's the space in between me fixing the fact that the leather was in the way. But it kind of looks like it's one go.
Oh, I mean, that's editing, right?
That's editing, yeah. Tell the story. Editing is a lot like a magic trick in a way. It's all about telling a story, and if the audience doesn't catch what your trick was and they're entertained, then you did it right.
Right.
Yeah.
I was just telling them the same thing because I filmed a con, and someone kicks the camera in the middle of the interview, and I tried so hard to make it so that it looks like I'm just camera changing and not actually having the camera fall over.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can tell you the magic that I do with audio, it's because I'm an audio engineer. So
yeah.
I understand totally. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As an editor for broadcast TV, where jump cuts are not allowed ever. Yeah, I totally get it. And the amount of audio editing that goes underneath B-roll. Once you cut away from the talking head and they're saying something underneath file footage, oh yeah, that's a jigsaw puzzle. They did not say all those words in those orders.
Right.
No.
How often that I'll create a sentence that wasn't there.
Exactly. Yeah. As long as it's got the same meaning, as long as you got the integrity of what they said, you're good. Mm-hmm. Unless you're Fox News, then you do what the heck you want.
Oh.
Oh wait, sorry.
And by the way, I guess some people are saying we need to see more of your workshop. How much more? Because I know sometimes you pull out and then you see a little more once in a while.
I can zoom out a little bit with the camera I got without moving around. So yeah. Okay.
I don't mean to if you have to do too much.
Well, I have to walk across the way to the shot, and yeah, the focus is the issue exactly. I've got a number of cameras, and they're all focused here at the table, and they all have what's called a prime lens, which means they're set on their focal length, they're set on their view angles, and they don't zoom at all. Really? At the moment, the lens that I have on the camera that I'm looking at has a little bit of zoom, and I can push out a little bit. We can see a little more of the table. We'll see a little more of the shot behind me, but it's still not really a, hey, let's take a look at the thing over here.
No.
So as well as it's not lit. And so it's going to turn into dark mud to the camera that I'm talking to because it's all set for the light that's here. It's a different beast than your cell phone, which is really happy to work with whatever you want to throw at it, or like a GoPro, which is happy to whether it's here or the horizon, it's in focus of the GoPro, and then it's happy to work with whatever light situation. So I can.
Yeah.
but not very well.
Yeah, no. I think it's hard to explain sometimes light magic and the way that
Right.
it works. Yeah, because like even if I move my camera right now, I've got my light perfect, but it'll go.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
you'll totally disappear because you're lit and your background isn't.
Right.
And then
Yeah,
depending
mentioned at the top
on
of
the
show.
frame rate of your camera, if you move too fast, you could have those I took mushrooms trails because it's got a slow frame rate.
Yeah.
I mentioned at the top of the show that my my light's not on me right now, so because I have it on the table because of the angle for the build that I'm doing.
In fact,
Always
you're
fun.
a little blurry, Phil. I hate to mention it, but
Am I?
Yeah.
It's the camera, and this camera has autofocus, so it sucks because I can't change the focus on it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Definitely one of the things I've tried to do with all the cameras I have. I don't mind if it has autofocus as long as I can turn it off.
Yeah.
And all the cameras I've got, I can turn them off. The main camera I'm talking to, I can tap on the touch screen, go autofocus, and it'll hit a focus target, which I've got one here. So I will tap to focus on the focus target, go, okay, so I'm now focused at this point. I'm not in focus here. I'm not in focus here, but I'm focused here. So then I know that I'm in the sweet spot for standing behind the table.
Yeah, the camera that I have, it's got an analog lens and it focuses on its own, but there's no way for me to change the focus on it.
I remember the days where autofocus didn't exist. And white balancing was done with a piece of paper.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We are incredibly spoiled these days. I can't explain it.
I still white balance with a piece of paper. I don't white balance all the time because I've kind of got my cameras set. Although as the year progresses and temperatures change, I can see that the white balance temperatures change. So I literally have 5 cameras pointed at my workspace, and the one camera that's over here is the most green, if you want to give it a color value, out of all my cameras. And I think this one's now the darkest, and this one is the whitest. But they still cut okay, because in the end of the day, I need to make good B-grade YouTube material, not A-grade theatrical material.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I can't kill myself trying to tweak something that nobody else is going to see.
And that's just it, which is really cool, having more than one camera. Do you tend to do you tend to gravitate towards one angle, or because I know which angles I like?
Yes, I'm right-handed and almost terminally right-handed. So I've got cameras set up to favor the fact that if I'm doing something, this camera over here is just going to see a bunch of knuckles. So I will favor the camera that's over here. There's a camera, much like your Lego camera, pointed down at the table, and it's kind of forward so my head isn't in the shot. Right. That one works out really, really well most of the time. And then I have a secondary camera over here that's actually offset a little bit, and it's sitting lower. That's kind of pointed more towards my gut to get that closer view of my hands doing stuff. And that one really works out pretty well. So ultimately, I just said all 5 of them work out really well. But I've tried to favor the cameras for me being right-handed. And a lot of this, when I did DIY Prop Shop, I had 3 cameras. 2 of them were on sticks, tripods. And one was actually a cameraman, and he would run around and try and get in and get shots. And that worked well when I was doing a video every 2 months. At the production rate I'm doing now, I can't ask somebody to sit here all week and not pay them. So I've got tripod and hanger and right. So
I was curious about that, because sometimes in your shows you're talking to somebody. And I know that stuff is difficult right now because of COVID. Kind of, how does that work out?
There's a few core people that I've always just been around constantly. So there's a couple of people that will pop in and walk through when I'm talking to them, but half the time I'm literally just talking to me, or I know I'm talking to the viewer. I've talked to a camera so much at this point, it's a lot like talking on an old school phone. You know, you're literally just kind of staring off in the room, talking to this piece of plastic that's wired to the wall. It's not much different, really. the best advice that I was given as far as how to talk to the audience, how to talk to the camera, is I'm not talking to the camera because today I'm going to show you how I'm going to make a. I used to have to cut it out in the beginning. It was my friend Zot. I was working in his garage. He would stand behind the camera and go, okay, what you got to do is calm down and explain it to me. What are you doing?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, Zot. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to take this piece of foam and cut it up. And then I would cut out the okay, Zot part and keep going. And I literally gave that talk to one of the presenters at KVIE. I mean, he asked for it, right? I didn't do it out of the blue. But it's like, no, just don't explain it to the viewer. Don't explain it to the camera. Explain it to a person. And that totally changes your tone and how you're presenting it.
Mm-hmm.
So, in my opinion, in my unschooled meanderings.
Unschooled meanderings. I like that.
So you're often your own director, AD, camera person.
Oh, I'm the only one here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's me, the trains. I'm the only one here. There's the main line that goes from downtown to the Roseville Switch Yard is about 200 yards right behind me.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
So, all day, trains.
Do you have to like cut that out? Do you have to stop sometimes and go like, oh, nope, that's audio?
Right. When I'm doing audio, I get super concerned about that. And I will stop when I'm doing my VO to make sure that I don't have it. Because it causes an edit problem. If there's a point in time I'm talking about something and then I need to edit to another point because I pronounced something better in the second take. If the train isn't there, you can hear it. So that's the only time. When I'm doing a live stream, when I'm building, it is what it is, and nobody really cares. So
yeah.
Right. We've been moving a lot more to like a live format, and we've been doing a lot of our shows live. So it's kind of like whatever's there is there. But I do, when we do get chances to do episodes where everything's recorded and I'm pre-recording everything, like I make a conscious effort of, when we recorded that, I heard a car in the background. Let's redo this take or something like that,
Exactly. Yeah. It's really hard to do when you're doing it yourself, but note taking and time stamping is important for that. And as an audio guy, that you can replace that. I have a really bad habit of clicking when I'm talking, because talking and doing things, I'll start to develop saliva. So I'll a lot. And I've gotten to where I will shuffle the room tone just before or after that. So I'm not starting out every take in my video with a click. Like I'm, yeah.
I think, we do the same thing. I'm the video person where I go like, oh, that's got to be, tighter, But he's you're not leaning into the microphone enough. Like you're breathing too hard. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know totally. What I don't do that I know I should do, but I don't, because it's
brush your teeth.
Yeah. No. It's the lazy thing to do, but like I'll record everything on the same channel, knowing that I shouldn't, but I do.
Oh, right. No, yeah. If you're mixing everything into a stereo channel, you are making more work for yourself.
Oh yeah. Well, you know what? It's funny enough. It tends to be fairly easy to do because what's good about our show is like a lot of people don't really talk over each other, so I don't really have to edit that stuff.
Yeah.
I've been trying to make more of a conscious effort, not just with your show, but in general. I noticed the live streaming, I would talk over other people a lot. And so I've been trying to shy away from that.
Yeah.
Most of my edits are like the ums and hus and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, typical podcast stuff. And broadcast TV. You eliminate a lot of that. You eliminate, like I just did 3 U's in a row. I only need 1.
Right.
Yeah.
But then you can also let them be, because that's a natural thing. You don't want to force everyone to be Max Headroom.
Yeah. Oh my God, Max Headroom. Yes.
I wasn't. I don't think I was old enough. I can't remember. That was in the
20 minutes in the future.
That was the 80s.
That was the 80s.
And Max Headroom. Every time I think of Max Headroom, I just think of that scene from Back to the Future when he goes to the diner.
Oh yeah. Yep.
I mean, that's
with Reagan and Gaddafi. Yeah.
Right. That's what that was based on was Max Headroom. So it was like, I didn't know he was British. I found that out recently.
Yeah. Matt Frewer. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a whole, if you can find it, it's a movie. I think it's called Max Headroom 20 Minutes in the Future. It's this quasi cyberpunk news movie thing about the birth of Max Headroom, and it was just kind of its own thing. But the character kind of grew out of that and did a lot more. I mean, he's like in an Art of Noise music video. He was the spokesman for Diet Coke when it first came out.
Right.
And yeah, he was all over the place in the 80s. And they hid the fact that he was a graphically altered video of a man in a costume. They really tried to play off that. No, he's computer generated for the longest time.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's funny because whenever anyone mentions that too, they you can't help but mention the hacking incident too. On top of that, that was local, wasn't it? I think it was local.
The hacking with the one that the pirate broadcast?
Yeah.
The one with the Max Headroom mask? That was Chicago, I thought.
Or was Chicago? Yeah, I remember something.
Yeah. Somebody basically they pirated the broadcast signal. So way back in the day when TV was just beamed to everyone's house with a high power transmitter, if you were able to get a transmitter with a higher power, you could block out that weak signal. And that's what pirates would do, was they would have the same frequency and then just broadcast a stronger signal in order to overpaint, and that's what happened. And oh boy, does the FCC hate that.
Yeah.
That is not cool.
No.
Christian radio started that way, where I'm forgetting his name, but the first Christian broadcaster on radio, his signal was like, I guess he was broadcasting from like Wisconsin or something like that, and it reached all the way to Mexico because he would.
It was probably AM, right?
Yeah, well, like he would put his signal up so high that people could like listen in on his broadcast from anywhere, and and that's where this was like in the 1920s, so like the FCC started like putting regulations on there because they're like, a radio that high can't be good for anybody,
right? Or a radio that high, we can bill you for that, so we need to come up with regulations.
That's probably that's probably more along the lines of what happened.
And if it was 20, it was also AM because that's all there was. Which that as a signal could go a lot further. Not like ham radio where you can bounce it off the atmosphere and talk to Australia. Right. But that is a fun technology that I've never gone down that rabbit hole. You can actually do low power broadcasting like the drive-ins do, and even locally. I think. I don't remember the numbers are, but basically there's a certain radius of receptibility that you have to be under in a certain amount of transmitting power, which those two things are related. And you don't even have to have a license. You can you've got your pirate radio and you're doing your thing and everything's fine because you're not blasting everybody. So I've got a friend that had his own radio station for 2 years. He just played his own thing and actually got emails from people that were listening. And, even though he broadcast like the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's what the local community centers do sometimes, where you can take classes and do radio and they broadcast. And I did that
just like to the campus.
Yeah.
One of my favorite experiences, not that I got to go in and do it, but the way they had set it up. I for a number of years I went to Burning Man, and there were two different stations set up. They were both radio free Burning Man, and they were at like opposite ends of the camps, so you could tune into either one of them and listen to this. They were volunteer run. You would come down and sign up for a 2-hour block when you wanted to be the DJ, and you would bring your music and you would just start playing what you wanted to play, and you could be the DJ for 2 hours.
Me being a DJ,
that was great.
I missed out on.
Oh,
Yeah.
Love that. And
my spouse Ellis used to do a DJ with The Sims Online. There was a way of doing a radio thing through the internet, and so within The Sims there were signs that they would put up for where to find fm.com, whatever it was. That's not it, but whatever it was.
Yeah.
And then they would do their show. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been actually planning on busting out the turntables and DJing online because through the pandemic, a lot of DJs did that.
Right.
Then
that's cool.
Yeah, but then they started really clamping down on it, and like that's where like the
the NSA.
yeah,
NSA, yeah.
I'm forgetting what the term is for royalty free stuff.
DRM,
DRM,
DCRM, whatever. Yeah.
And so a lot of DJs started getting DCRM takedowns.
Yeah.
And they started really clamping down on DCRM like during the pandemic because DJs were doing that. So I have a lot of friends that would be like, in the middle of a mix and they'd get taken down because they didn't have the rights to play that song.
Right. Or whatever that sample is. There's a certain amount of fair use you're supposed to be able to do.
Right.
But
I make those jokes.
The music companies have no chill and they don't care.
Yeah. And I mean, like my start and everything, I used to work in the music industry, like that's I have an audio engineering degree. That's kind of where everything started from. And I got my engineering degree because I was a producer and I wanted to be able to talk to my engineers. Like there's always, it's notorious in the music industry that engineers and producers never get along. And it's because they speak two different languages. Producers know what they want to hear, but engineers know what's possible, right? So the whole thing is like I wanted to be able to speak to an engineer and everything makes sense. Or they would I would say, hey, I want to do this, and they'd say, well, you can't do this because of this, and I could understand what they were saying.
Yeah.
So both.
Good for you.
Right. So I mean that's really why I became an engineer, was because I was a producer that just wanted to be able to speak to my engineers. And
nothing wrong.
I got out of the music industry because of like how petty the music industry is.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
I only know secondhand, so I really can't say like I'm authority on that.
Yeah, the music industry is terrible. I hated working in the music industry, and I switched gears and computer science. But yeah, total opposite end of the spectrum.
Almost. There's still a bit of engineering thinking that goes into that. You're still probably solving problems in similar ways. You're just using different tools to do it.
Especially like as a musician, everything is math.
Oh, everything's math with music. Yeah.
Yeah. Probably why I never went into music. I'm
an
art major, not a scientist.
Cool. I was just going to joke about how we had a Chihuahua, and she had her right shoulder had a defect, so she would kind of hop while running because it bothered her. So she would run in 7/8 time. Right. Sorry, long joke, but long way to get there.
That is definitely a musician's joke right there.
And speaking of changing gears, we like to ask on our podcast, because we are all about nerding out and nerding with anyone who wants to bring in whoever wants to bring in to nerd out and introduce things. What are you nerding out on lately?
Oh, what am I nerding out on lately? Okay, so what am I going to? Well, Minecraft. I finally, for the first time ever, started playing that back in September. But what else am I like nerding out on? I'm super excited for Strange New Worlds because I am an old school Trekkie fan. And I am a Trekkie. I'm not this Trekker thing. No, I'm a Trekkie. And I've made the uniforms. I've made the sets. I've made the films. Damn it. No.
Called Trekkers, okay? Trekkie is derogatory at this point.
Yeah, yes, it is. So I'm a Trekkie. So I'm very excited because it's Pike. It's number one. It's the younger version of Spock, even though they're still kind of playing with his lifespan in a weird way. But it was never fully canon anyway. And now we're going to see Ensign Uhura appear in the series, and they're also going to go back to an anthology format, at least for the first season, where it's Alien of the Week. Instead of this, it's a 12-hour movie. No, it's like, okay, we're in Ceti Alpha 5, and now we're going to go off to Omicron 6. And that's, all right.
We're going to fight
so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, the Vulcans are,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then someone wants to know, are you a Captain Pike guy?
I'm a Captain Kirk guy. I'm totally happy with Pike. And one of the jokes we did with that TV show that I talked about, that it's a video I could probably find. Early 90s disrespectful humor. It was going to be a boxing match between Captain Christopher Pike and Stephen Hawking.
And Stephen Hawking still wins.
It was coming up on pay-per-view. It was only 47 bars of platinum.
Like, you don't know how. All he did was this, and Hawking still won.
Yeah, pretty much. Because
what does that say about?
I was the only voice in the spot. I was dressed up like a Ferengi, trying to give trying to be the Burgess Meredith coach to Christopher Pike, right? You know, you're a Federation tank, you're a doomsday machine, and then you would cut to Christopher Pike. Beep. And then of course we could have Hawkins say anything we wanted because it's a mechanical voice. So it was a horrible video, but fun.
Right.
Yeah. Totally not cool anymore at all.
No, there's a lot of things that aren't cool.
And that's the tamest one.
Right.
It's early 90s humor. There's a lot of stuff that's like, oh yeah, no, I put this out, I'm done. So
do you watch Discovery at all? I'm kind of curious.
Yes, I've been enjoying Discovery. I haven't finished the most recent season, but I've been enjoying Discovery. Way back when they first showed the first 2 episodes, right, free for everyone to see, and I watched those, it didn't work for me at all. And it took me years to get around to actually watching the rest of Discovery. But I had too many people tell me that, no. You get into episode 3 and episode 4, and it starts to become what it's supposed to be, and it's good. And so like, all right, fine. I'll sit down and chew my leg, and all right, and made it through that. And okay, yeah, so I definitely enjoyed it. And I just need to take the time to watch the rest. I need to watch Peacemaker too. I'm not at all caught up on Peacemaker.
Is so good, man.
Yeah.
That's what I've been hearing.
Yeah. I mean, James Gunn, you know, he can do no wrong, right? A lot of people had issues with. Now he can do no wrong.
Now.
A lot of people had issues with Suicide Squad, but it was easily one of the best DC movies. Like, I thought it was great.
Easily.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, it's super funny. He nailed the characters like in a way that none of the other directors were able to get with those characters. Like Harley Quinn, he nailed her perfectly. That came out wrong, but I mean, like as a character,
I know what you mean. But yeah, no, he totally did. And also he's proven with other movies he's worked on that he can write an ensemble cast. He can write a multi-character movie, and it works because not everyone can do that.
Right. There's not a lot of like you get equal amounts of focus on all the characters. I also loved that along with that, you get a really well done again, I forget everybody's names when I need them.
I do the same thing.
It's that guy. He did that thing with the stuff.
The guy with the thing and the
He's
gun.
got the funny face.
And the thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was that time when the weasel licked the glass.
Oh, God. He gets his brother to do the weirdest things. It's.
I can go off on a quick tangent, but I'm trying to wait to see if you grab what you're after there.
Suicide Squad cast.
Someone's suggesting that you do Peacemaker's helmet next.
That goes back to trying to do something chrome that actually looks good in foam, and that's my only hang up. I'd be totally happy to make a toilet helmet, but it comes down to making it the chrome, and that is the massive stumbling block. I can make one that's silver.
Right. Rick Flag was who I was trying to think of. Like they did not do Rick Flag well in the first movie, and he was almost perfect in the second one. I mean, like people complain about Joe Kinnaman, but it's like it's not Joe Kinnaman's fault that he had a crappy script. It's like when you see him in the second movie, it's like he pulled off Rick Flag perfectly, and it's like proof that you.
And it isn't always the script. Sometimes the script can be spot on, but the director isn't going to take it in the right direction because he doesn't understand the script. Right. And so this doesn't work.
Like when it comes to this,
that actually happened with the Ferengi.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like when you look at a lot of these comic book properties, right? Like you look at kind of the only person who was not a comic book fan that nailed his comic book movie was Christopher Nolan.
Okay, yeah.
Because Christopher Nolan, like 100% admitted that I don't know anything about Batman. I'm not a fan of Batman, but I've read like kind of like the psyche of the character, and it's an interesting like character like driven story. And he nailed it because he understood the character. He didn't have to read the comic.
And then he also tried to make the character work in a real world context, and trying to make a comic book movie.
Right. Right. Well, same thing. He nailed the Joker. Like Heath Ledger nailed the Joker.
Oh,
in such a way where it's like he understood the anarchy parts of it. He understood kind of what Joker's motivations are, and the fact that he's a monster. You know, like that's
right.
They nailed that about him.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, they did.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess that was my issue with the first Suicide Squad movie, but the second Suicide Squad movie, he understood the characters enough, and I love that he goes out there, right? Like, who else is going to use Starro?
Nobody, because there's no way. Nobody would even know how to use Starro. I wouldn't know how to use Starro. Yeah.
Right.
So, winding down. So you mentioned some of the cons that you're going to. Speaking of nerding,
Okay.
What cons are coming up if people want to come see you?
So the cons that I'm 100% going to be at that are coming up is February 19th and 20th in San Diego, California. I'm going to be at Rocket Con. This is going to be the 3rd annual con. Nice. No, this isn't the big San Diego con. This is Rocket Con. Yeah. And so I'm going to be there for that weekend. I'll do a couple of talks and maybe a workshop. This is one of those things I was going to go do in February of 2020. So this is a long time coming con, and I don't even remember what the agreement was. But yeah, I'll go. Sure. Yeah. I 100%. I'm going to be in Oklahoma City on April 9th. That's a one-day con. It's called Creators Con. It's a little harder to find online at the moment, but I'm going to be out there. It's a brand new con. With SKS Props, Stephen K. Smith from SKS Props. Yeah. And then a couple of other really well-known cosplayers whose names escape me at the moment, which isn't fair because I don't know them that well, but I can see that they're big in the community. Right. Because I know the people that are around me. And so that's happening in Oklahoma City. It's a one-day con, and that's going to be fun because it's all about making. It's all about creating. One of the things they're going to have is an hour-long contest workshop on build an alien head. And that's all it says. So I don't know if that's a xenomorph or it's a gray alien or it's up to the person doing it. But you have this time limit and you have this material limit and go. And then for sure, I'm going to be at SAC Anime the first weekend in September, which we call Labor Day. And I will be cosplay repair again. So I'm going to be upstairs in the cosplay gathering area. So I won't be on the vendor's floor. I won't be on the main floor, but I'm up where all the cosplayers are and the LARPers are. And I'll have my booth set up and I'll be there with the people who want to help me provide cosplay repair. And it's still fun. I've done that twice now. And both times on Saturday, I swear half the people who are going to go up onto the stage to do the costume contest come through cosplay repair. So it's like, you want to get a good prejudging? Yeah. I know how you did yours because I help you get out of the bodice and get back into it. Right. Because it's all sorts of things. It was the first year was great. There was a guy came up. He had his nice gangster G-Man. I'm not quite sure which character he was trying to be, but he had his suit, right? His secondhand suit that he was wearing. He ripped the crotch out doing some karate move or something. Man. So it's like, how do I get this fixed? Like, I can sew it for you, but I can't sew it while it's on you. And that particular day, I happened to bring a spare pair of jean shorts because I was going to put on the Mechagodzilla. So this kid who is a kid, it's like, here's a size 48 pair of shorts. You're gonna kind of but at least you'll have something around you. Yeah. And he did. He wore those for half an hour while he sewed his pants back together. And here you go.
Just holding them the whole time. Just like
just holding them the whole time, right?
So that, I mean, we hope to see you soon. I mean, we've had fun tonight, and I definitely want to. Oh, cool. I mean, anytime you want to come back on the show and do kind of what we normally do, because we definitely want to do like an interview on this one. But normally on this show, we do like nerd brackets, right? So like like March Madness, Sweet 16, they'll have like the brackets for the teams and everything. Yeah, we do that with like nerdy stuff, right? So we'll be like, hey, best Star Wars character or stuff like that, right?
Right.
It'd be fun if
the Dianoga.
Yeah, but like if you want to come back, that's exactly what happens. Oh, let me tell you, Phoenix ruined my the best Star Wars character one because she got people to vote for Padme Amidala over Darth Maul. And Padme Amidala beat Darth Maul.
In all fairness, Padme Amidala had a character arc. In the movies, Darth Maul didn't.
Right, see, we were talking
he was
overall.
an angry clown,
Oh, no.
but he was awesome.
But we were talking about overall character arcs, and he now has one of the most compelling characters in Star Wars.
Yeah.
So it's like you got people to vote for Padme over Maul? Seriously?
That was before the character arc.
No, it wasn't.
Well,
because I made my argument about that.
Right, but that's a tough call because it's easy to I've seen Star Wars in the theaters.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen every episode of the Clone Wars.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen every episode that Darth Maul's in, but I have, so that becomes like, are you trying to argue for the character because of the expanded universe, which the Clone Wars isn't? That's all canon, but hopefully you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So
it's the common stuff that people would go and watch.
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, if you want to come back on at any point to do that, please do. It's a whole ton of fun. But on that, what I want to get into now is more so pluggables, man. What pluggables do you have aside from all the cons and everything? Like, where can everybody find you and social medias and all that kind of stuff?
Oh, those pluggables, not like the 110 there and the 2-phase. It's over.
Exactly.
I thought you'd say that.
How could I not? Pluggables, 5-volt. Sure. So I am OdinMakes on YouTube. That's just my YouTube channel, youtube.com/OdinMakes. Will take you to my YouTube channel where I have a few hundred video tutorials on how to build stuff out of foam. Every episode I show how to cut the foam, pattern the foam, cut the foam, glue the foam, paint the foam, and you get a prop at the end of the episode. I call it a cooking show for props. I have my own Reddit channel, which is not terribly active, but there is r/OdinMakes. I'm OdinMakes on Instagram. That's probably the most active social media that I use because it's very visually oriented and I can navigate it. There is the Odin's Makers. I think it's just called Odin's Makers on Facebook. So there's a Facebook group. If you go to patreon.com/OdinMakes, you'll find access to my private Discord, my private Minecraft server, and everybody who is a patron gets to see my stuff early. So when I have a video completed on time, I can show it early to everyone. But I give everyone almost an hour of pre-access to my live streams, so they actually get a chance to interact with me live with a much smaller audience. And then every Friday we do a live stream of a video game. Right now we're playing Among Us, and that's also open to anybody who's on my Discord. So
nice.
It's kind of Odin makes everywhere. I made it tough.
Phoenix, as usual, what are your pluggables?
I'm on Instagram and Facebook. Come and check us out, and I am always on Distance Nerding.
All right, and of course, everybody, you can find us at Distance Nerding if it exists, and it's a social media. We are on it: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch. What's other? MySpace, GeoCities.
OnlyFans.
We do have an OnlyFans, and it is of birds' feet. That's all it is.
All right.
That is not true, but that would be funny if it was. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, we now have a TikTok. And if if you haven't been checking out our TikTok, it's basically just videos of me as doing dumb things as Deadpool, and of course, singing 80s songs as Mickey Mouse, and it's amazing. So that's where you find us. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. It's time for the dance party. I know Phoenix didn't tell you what the dance party is. I'm gonna have to explain that real quick here.
A little bit.
A little bit.
At the end of here,
I got a little bit of a warning on it. Yeah. So okay.
So we know what the dance party is. The dance party is coming now. Coming nigh.
All right.
That word is wrong. Here we go. Dance party. Oh, I'm starting with Odin. Let's go. Here we go. Boom. That is amazing.
I missed.
Distance Nerding.
The Cade 6, if you guys don't know who he is. Nathan Fillion, basically. Emmett been here the whole time. Emmett didn't leave us. I lost my video.